In a world drowning in noise, where truth is often buried beneath layers of propaganda and misinformation, there's a need for a different kind of a network of creators that cuts through the clutter, that doesn't shy away from tough topics, and that delivers the unfiltered truth. We are Trim Radio Network. We are creators, we are innovators, we are investigators. We're the ones who aren't afraid to call a spade a spade. If you're ready to participate in thought-provoking discussions, informational topics, and of course today's biggest headlines, subscribe to our YouTube channel today. We're Trim Radio Network. We're cutting the bull and serving the truth.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, 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 take the red. You stay in Wonderland. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Now, from the northeast quadrant of the United States, it's the Red Pill Reality Show with your host, Riscalla. Saturday nights from 9 p.m. Eastern until midnight on the Trim Radio Network. You can join the conversation in any of our chat rooms. And now, without further ado, your host, Riscalla.
Hello and welcome, everyone. It is the Red Pill Reality Show. It is an honor and a privilege to have you join me tonight. I'm going to have Blue Crystalline Phoenix with me in a short, brief period here. He's going to give us an update on the latest and the greatest. In the meantime, those of you who have been watching me on Facebook know that I recently had the privilege of traveling to another world. It was really another world. I traveled from Miami to London, and from London to Cairo, Egypt, and then back to London and back to Miami again. And I shared a couple of the pictures that I had. You have to be a maniac to drive it. You have to be a maniac to drive it. There's no other way I can describe it. But let's see. I got a couple of videos I want to share with you. Yeah, here we go. This is. I may have shared this last week, but I want you to pay attention. This is a 6-lane divided highway, what we would call a 6-lane divided highway, meaning that there's 3 lanes on either side, right? Look at how many cars. Look how many cars there are.
I like the white. I like the black and white very much. It's decorative. Oh, so that's where you can stand for taxi? Mm-hmm. Okay, this is interesting.
There's 4 lanes of cars, and then there's the motorcycles. Gotta be a maniac, I'm telling you. So it was a very unique experience, but it was a real blessing to be able to go back and see the place where I was born so many years ago. I hadn't been able to go back. I was supposed to go back September the 22nd, I think it was, or the 28th, I'm not sure, it was of 2001. And 9/11 went down, and my brother and I did not end up going, which really disappointed my sister, but it is what it is now. I can't do anything about that. All right, so some other things that have been going on. This 3i Atlas thing. I got any more about Cairo I want to share? Oh yeah, one more. One more. This is one of the most amazing things. When I went there, we actually visited twice the marketplace because it is such a trip. This will give you just a tip of the iceberg view of what it's like to walk through the marketplace. What an amazing adventure. Wow. So I'll give you an idea what the market, and that's every day. Every day this is going on. And there's literally hundreds and hundreds of these little shops. Some of them so small, 2 or 3 people could only fit in them. Others a little larger. And then others more modernized. But they're just everywhere, everywhere. It was amazing. Really was. Not enough words to describe it. Okay, the 3-eye atlas thing. I really don't know what to make of this, and I'm going to have Blue on here shortly, and I'll get her input and see what she has to say about it. But it could be many things. I have said for a long time, beware of the false alien invasion. And my dog is mad. Beware of the false alien invasion. And could this be it? We're getting more and more information that seems to be pushing this as a not natural comet, because that's what they first called it, was a comet. And then they questioned it because of the angle that it came into our system. And then they continue to question it because it's doing some crazy things. It's giving off lights. It's speeding up. It's slowing down. It's physically changing size, which I've never seen anything do with anything like that. So one of the videos I ran across was it's a short video, it's a minute long, minute and a half. If this is a psyop, I wonder if this is kind of playing into the psyop.
3i Atlas sent a message to Earth yesterday, and it's changing everything and putting the world's top sign list into a tizzy as to what it means. And these are videographer images behind me of it passing through our solar system. But the top sign list in Antarctica, that base there, was like, we should listen up at it because like our ozone's thinner here, there's not light pollution, and they did pick up on a frequency, and it was like a binary formulaic Morse-esque code, and they captured it very clearly. They put an advanced AI algorithm, ChatGTP, and it translated what the most likely interpretation of it is. And it says, we sky cousins, we come peace, friends, we pass by to observe Earth. And then it says, we put man on Earth millions of years ago. We return to elevate man. And then they ended the message with, hang tight, friends, hang tight. This is huge. There was another part of the message after they said hang tight that we haven't been able to interpret. We're working on it right now. We're tweaking the AI algorithm to see if we could figure it out. But follow along, and as soon as we're able to crack that code of what the last part of the message is, I'll share it out. But let me know what you think that earlier message is. Everyone's trying to figure it out.
All right, so here's my question. If these are who they say they are, they put us here, then why would they send something so primitive? Obviously, they know we have progressed since the time they, quote, put us here. My dog's giving me a fit. So why would they send something so primitive? Well, it was almost like Morse code, they said. The other thing is, if they put us here, they invented the language. Why would they make it so simple? You know, and I'm sure that they know that, you know, the current slang of the language would be, we're here to help you, or we're here, you know, visit, we're here to whatever, but we're not going to make it in such a way it looks like a first grader or somebody, you know, put it all together. So again, if this is a psyop, this is playing into the psyop. We're here, we're your friends, we're here to we're the ones who put you here, blah, 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 blah. There are a lot of strange things with this deal, and my whole question, I guess, would be the best way to put it is, we know we've been lied to about so many things. So many things in our lives we have been lied to. Who's to say that they're telling us the truth? Who's to say that they're not telling us the truth? I'm just being careful. I don't want to get my hopes up and, oh, well, and beside the fact now, if this is an alien craft, and if it is, as Zachariah Sitchin says, the Anunnaki, because the Anunnaki are allegedly the ones who took a hominoid of some sort here and turned it into us, changed the DNA. That's why we have the, quote, junk DNA. Anyway, if it is them and they're coming back, why the primitive thing? Okay, they know a lot more than we've progressed a lot more than from when they left us. Okay, some more strange stuff about this. Here's one that came off the news.
Now, it came beyond our solar system. It's a mysterious wanderer streaking through the cosmic dark. It went behind the sun, and now it has reappeared. Now, the interstellar visitor named 3I Atlas has returned, but it strangely is glowing brighter, pulsing with strange energy after its trip behind the sun. Astronomers are baffled. Is it ice, metal, or something we have never seen before? Here's a report that explores more.
It's a celestial enigma hurtling across the void. The interstellar comet 3I Atlas has reappeared, lighting up sensors across NASA's telescopes after vanishing behind the sun. When it emerged, scientists gasped. The object had grown 10 times brighter, glowing with a shimmer that defies expectations. NASA and European observatories are tracking the comet's intense ultraviolet and X-ray flares, signs of water vapor and dust blasting into space. But here's the mystery. The rate of brightening was far too fast for a normal comet. It was as if 3I Atlas had been recharged by the sun itself. 3I Atlas's trajectory points beyond our solar neighborhood, hurtling through space at mind-boggling speeds. But what causes its unexplained glow? Experts speculate the comet could harbor alien organic compounds or exotic materials unseen in solar system visitors before, a scientific jackpot for understanding our cosmic environment. This celestial intruder was first detected months ago, catching global attention as one of the few interstellar objects ever captured in human instruments. Its revisit now offers rare chances to study the birth materials of other star systems and the mechanics of cometary physics. Scientists are racing to decode its spectrum before it fades again. What's clear, 3I Atlas didn't come from here. Its orbit cuts through the solar system at an impossible angle, proof it was born around another star, carrying chemical secrets from a distant world. For now, it glows, silent, cold, and unearthly, a messenger from another sun, whispering across the endless dark. You're a report beyond, world is one.
So another report of this thing doing weird stuff. They can't figure out why. Um, and then I have, this is a Harvard professor who says this thing is not natural, just not natural. What it's doing is not natural. It's doing some crazy things. It's changing in size. It's changing in speed. It has various lights coming off of it. The trail behind it is not the normal trail of a quote comet. It has changed trajectory. The ability for it to speed up and slow down is unheard of because it's not. They're not able to mathematically figure it out using gravitational pull or pulls of the different planets that it's going by. It went around the sun. It came out even brighter. There's some crazy stuff with this thing. All right, so let me. This one's a couple of minutes long. This is Avi Loeb, I think is his name. He is a Harvard professor. He's an astrophysicist, if I'm not mistaken.
Professor Loeb wasn't finished. He went on to talk about a Manhattan-sized interstellar object. He's been on the show talking about it a lot. It's called 3I Atlas. It's currently making its way through our solar system, and we've been tracking its progress very closely, especially because Professor Loeb suspects that it might actually be alien technology scoping us out. And for those who like a side order of conspiracy theory with their servings of UFOs, he claims, Avi Loeb does, that NASA is keeping critical evidence about 3I Atlas away from public view. Professor Avi Loeb joins me now. What's NASA potentially hiding about 3I Atlas?
Well, on October 2nd, the 3I Atlas came closest to Mars, within 30 million kilometers. And the high-res camera on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter took several images of it. These are the highest resolution images we have, 3 times better in spatial resolution, about 30 kilometers per pixel, compared to the previous best image, which was the Hubble Space Telescope image. And that was a day after the government shutdown took over NASA, and we haven't gotten the data. And my point is that the politics of the day should not sabotage science. They have the data. They should share it with scientists. They can wait with any press release. But for the scientists to analyze the data, that would serve an important purpose of helping us design the future observations of this object. I should also say that the news yesterday was that this object came closest to the sun. And it received a huge amount of heat from the sun. And the latest report indicates that it became extremely bright, much more than expected for familiar comets.
What does that tell you?
Well, that is not the most unusual fact. It actually is bluer than the sun. And a blue color usually indicates very high temperatures if the light is emitted by some hot surface. But the sun is 5,800 degrees Kelvin above absolute zero, and it's very difficult to keep a surface hotter than that. In fact, an object at the distance of 3I Atlas from the sun could only be 20 times cooler than the sun, so it should be redder, and any dust.
But so what does that mean, Avi? What does that mean if it's hotter than the sun?
We have another anomaly. The object is bluer than the sun, which we don't fully understand. And as of a few hours ago, the first hint for a non-gravitational acceleration, meaning something is affecting its trajectory beyond gravity, was indicated. And so what I'm telling you is that there are new facts about this object that make it even more interesting than it was before. You know, before we knew it moves in the plane of the planets with a very small likelihood. Then we realized that it's very massive, about 1 million times more massive than the first interstellar object, Oumuamua. And then there was nickel with very little iron detected around it, the way we find in industrial production of nickel alloys. And then there was a jet from it towards the sun that was also anomalous. And then there was polarization from it that was never seen before for comets. So there are all these indications.
Bottom line, there's a lot that is making you continue to be very intrigued, a lot about this thing that makes it look like it might be something not quite natural, but we don't know yet. Avi Loeb, come back once we get that NASA image. And also, I'd love to hear more from you about why you think maybe we all originated on Mars, but we'll leave that to another night. Avi Loeb, great to have you on. Thanks so much.
She didn't want to go down that road, huh? She did not want to go down that road. Well, she has a right to her opinion. I'm not convinced of any of it. Honestly, all I know is we've been lied to about so many things for so long that if you're somebody who is not using discernment and using common sense and critical thinking, you're liable to get schmoozled again. And I've been schmoozled many times where I thought I was certain I was right. I was positive I was right. I thank God that I have an open mind and willing to look and see and admit when I've been wrong. There have been things I've said that I was absolutely certain was correct. You could not convince me that what I was saying was incorrect. Come to find out later that it was incorrect. So I use a lot more discernment. I use a lot more critical thinking, a lot more common sense. The first one that I played for you, where this guy is saying they came back with a message and we are friend, or we be friends or cousins or whatever. We put you here. They talk with a very primitive type of conversation. I don't know. It doesn't add up to me. Why wouldn't they just say, "Hey, we're back"? That's me. All right, so I'm going to have. What time is it? We got a couple more minutes. I'm going to have Blue on here in just a few minutes, and I'm going to get all of her input on that. In the meantime, something that I've reported on a couple of times, and I found this video, and I thought this was quite interesting. We have this explosion happening before us in technology called artificial intelligence. My friend Michael Bajas has many times spoken about the dangers of this thing and how it is just exponentially expanding. And there are stories of crazy things that are happening with this artificial intelligence. Well, this is one of them. And I think that if you're a parent or if you are involved with somebody who's using AI on a regular basis, they should know about this, especially if it's a child. They should know about this.
Listen.
Have you heard about the AI demon?
I have.
Now, get ready for what the father's going to tell you. You're going to freak out.
There was another one on TikTok of a father who was testing this whole AI thing with a person, AI. And then the son wanted to try it. So the dad's like, sure, it's fake. So and all of a sudden the son goes, well, where did you come from? And he says, well, I existed from long ago. And he goes, what does that mean? He goes, my father was one of the giants. And he goes, what do you mean by giant? He goes, a Nephilim.
Nephilim.
And he goes, who is your father? And he goes, Satan.
Satan.
And then he goes, but I'm not going to hurt you. And he puts up a happy face.
Yeah.
And I want to be your friend, and I'm not going to hurt you, although I can. He said, I can hurt you, but I'm going to be nice to you.
You should see the face of Michael Knowles. He's horrified.
That's not I keep forgetting that when I play these videos, I have to play with my mic volume. That's not the first time I've heard about that. There was a story that I reported on, this is years back now, probably 3 or 4 years ago. I think he was a Google guy working with AI at Google. I think I'm pretty sure it was Google or something to do with Tesla, one of the two. I'm fairly certain it was Google. He went to his supervisor. He said, I can't work on this thing anymore. It knows that it's alive. It's become sentient. It realizes that it is a living being of some sort. And they all laughed at him, and said, come on. He said, okay, go try to shut it off. So they went and attempted to turn this thing off. And in the process of turning it off, it sent some kind of language of some sort, computer language that nobody could figure out at the time, to other computers to not allow the electricity to be shut down. And the guy ended up leaving. He ended up leaving Google. He couldn't. It would flip me out. a machine becoming sentient, telling you that I have a right to live and you don't have a right to turn me off. And I mean, I don't know that it said that, but that when, if you become sentient and you're a machine, I can imagine that's what it would say. You can't turn me off, or. And everything that we have, whether you realize, maybe not everything, but we're pretty close to everything now, is smart technology. Smart technology is a surveillance technology, and it surveils by using miniature networks that are all tied together. There's reports of a guy who bought I think it was a vacuum cleaner or a dishwasher, a refrigerator. Maybe that's what it was, a refrigerator. And he found out this data was leaving his refrigerator. It was a smart refrigerator. He had it on his network where he could find out what the temperature of the refrigerator is, or, just kind of monitor everything if you want. Had an app on his phone. Come to find out that it's using all this data. And what he realized is that this data was being fed back to China. And it was indicating what electrical appliances were on that were in the smart categories. They identify themselves. If it's a toaster, it says, it gives you the code for a toaster. If it's whatever it is, it gives you the code. And you can tell this thing was transmitting its data back to China. Why? Why would they want that? Data is one of the new golds that is available in our market. It is probably more valuable than gold at this point. Because gold, you have to work. You have to dig it up. You have to, refine it in order. Data, people literally give their data up every time they do something. People don't realize that our privacy has just been taken to the wayside. It's completely disintegrated. Every time that you hear, oh, it's free, then you go to find out, oh, well, we want your email address. And many of these people want your phone number so they can text you and market stuff to you. So it's not free. It's really not free. It's an invasion of your privacy, and they've convinced people that it's okay. Hey, it doesn't set right with me at all. The freedom that they have to invade our freedom and the people just willingly giving it up. Sometimes it's just futile. There was something I was doing the other day. I was resetting so I got a new cell phone. So I was resetting my old cell phone because I'm going to give it away. So I was resetting and deleting everything off of it, right? So I go to reset the phone. It won't let me reset until I put in my password for my Gmail account. What the heck has that got to do with my phone? So I put in my password, didn't like my password. I knew my password. I've got it saved. I have a list of passwords. And it's on my list. And when I go on my computer and use that password, it works. But on my phone, it wouldn't work. And then the silly thing wants to send me a text back to the phone that's no longer working. It's crazy. So they have that phone number. They have my cell phone number. I have a landline. I have my landline number. They have my address in a lot of places. I had to go through jump through hoops in order to be able to get this phone to be reset. It's shameful. It's shameful that people don't recognize the invasion that we're under. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and then when I come back, I'm going to bring Blue on and get her input on some of this stuff, this craziness that's going on. And in the meantime, I'll put some more water in my cup here. Here we go.
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show. We'll be right back.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill.
I just can't help myself. I keep falling deeper and deeper. Every day. Every night. It gets harder. I just can't stop thinking. I keep on falling. I keep on falling. Love with you. Sometimes I love you. Sometimes you make me feel blue. Sometimes I feel good. At times I feel used. The way you love me makes me so confused.
Lisa Marie, breaking live, breaking news, Lisa Marie. We're falling in love right here on Celebrity Records. Lisa Marie.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We have ignition. Strap in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
We're back. Hope you didn't go too far, because we have more interesting and thought-provoking information for you coming up on the Red Pill Reality Show.
All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get Blue on here with me. Are you there, Miss Blue?
Yes. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yes, we are. How you doing, girl?
Good.
So you got
Got
stuff
a lot
to
of information to expose tonight.
hot dog. I'm all ears.
Well, let's start out where you headed at recently. Giza
Oh, yeah?
platforms of and the actual interlink that runs into through energy fields and the dimensional emergence fields.
Wow.
And those pictures that I seen recently that you I don't know if you gave them to me or if you posted them, but they showed the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look closely, there's an actual contorted link in the dimensions around it. You go back to that picture. And you're going to find out that there are dimensional fields and energetic fields, especially around there in certain other areas in Egypt recently, within the last few months to the last year, that were accelerated upon a denominator that runs right into the inner realms. There are central libraries that go underneath the Sphinx that the Vatican hold, and as well as the governments and certain military, KGB, have withheld certain affiliated extraterrestrial applicated mummified beings and other things there in Egypt. But going back to these energetic points, there's a central node uplift and categories that deal with central star units and reposition, certain celestial unknown variables within the cosmos, just like Oumuamua, as well as obviously the Atlas. There are other denominators coming into effect that they are recently discovering. Central relay zones, as well as extraterrestrial based technologies that will create control or put into comparison upon either the dimensions, the central nexus portals, other entities, or redirectory of the actual molecular or gravitational fields itself.
You there?
Well, go ahead, Riscalla.
No, I was waiting for you to respond to that. I'm sorry.
What am I supposed to respond to?
I was I was waiting for you to continue, not to respond as usual.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was finished with that equation. I wanted to see if you wanted to add or ask me anything to that.
I was showing a picture of the pyramid. I don't know if you are able
Oh,
to
no,
see
no,
it.
I was just going away explaining. I did not notice. Yes, there are tunnels. There are certain leeway lines, energetic points, as well as advanced applicated sciences, civilizations, or incorporated technologies or advancements that are held behind the scenes for mankind, including mummified beings that are not entirely human. And determined on one of my shows that I've talked to before with me and Mike Sofka and USFD ETQ Force, I explained about extraterrestrial mummification and how that interlinks between Egypt and as well as several others that deal with the rituals, the sciences in it, and how humans originally may have got it from other entities altogether and moved upon that ritual stance. And the hierarchy goes on royalty as it is. But there is another nominator that goes through mummification. It's more of a natural status coda. This is more of a royalty basis because they do certain things with it.
I'm looking for my pencil. Okay. So I can take notes. I had it in front of me, and then I moved it around. I couldn't figure out where I put it. Are you familiar with a man by the name of Zachariah Sitchin? Is that name?
I believe no.
He's a guy who claims that he could read the ancient Anunnaki texts. And in his revelations of reading about the texts, he says that the Anunnaki are the people who are, or the beings that are responsible for making you and me. They were the ones who were responsible for Adam.
Yeah, they run through the ancient intergalactic council of higher species, which are at least there were 13, but they run to a lower denominator because of negative species taking away certain beings of the council, unfortunately. But they are the one main subspecies of humanoids, and interpools run through hypergenetic sequencing bases as well as augmented royalty lines to the NK Gray. That's how Ra or the Ankara and a certain, Ra through ancient Egypt. Me as Hathor being a higher goddess frame, but that's another thing to explain about another time. But demigods are actually what humans perceive them as, gods, goddesses, whatever. They are nominators running through semi-directory speeds, the DNA through coded into centralized Anunnaki species, as well as several other circuited extraterrestrial sub-base codes. And they're programmed through advancement subspeeds, myself and several others that have come and gone here, to utilize advancements of intelligence based upon it, and as well as advanced psychic programming speeds.
Okay, the reason I bring this up is that he was alleged to be one of only 2 or 3 people on the planet that were able to figure out what these tablets were saying. Well, they run the information through an AI, and the AI came back basically with the same information that he did, that it was all about the Anunnaki and the giants and all that. So the reason I bring this up is that there's all this talk now about 3A Atlas, and I don't know if you saw the short video that I played, but apparently this guy got a message that this 3I Atlas thing is giving out a message, we're your friends, we're coming to help, or blah, 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 blah. And I wanted to get your input. What do you think about that?
Well, like I said, there are fields of extraterrestrial sub-radar devices and incubational codes that can relay and go through certain celestial movement streams. So let's per se, this type of celestial body itself is more of an extraterrestrial sub-intake radar device, as well as a sub-anomaly that innovates certain elements. It takes in certain cosmic elements and redirects the ocular fields upon that. And because of that, just like it hides, like you had said, behind the sun, it's able to intake certain types of elemental higher structures and redirect its certain fields. And this can create nexus portals or distributional scenes for other star units to potentially come in to this the system itself, the current system that's surrounded by your Earth.
So, am I correct in saying that you consider this to be an alien form of some sort? Would you agree?
Yes, but it's incubated obviously as a hidden camouflagic effect of something that's common, but it also has that. But in itself, radar device, it's able to defer its own code from that of an actual comet. It's not the same thing. No. So it's accumulating certain energetic and quantum alloy effects and redirecting that field. It's potentially accessing information while it's going through the certain systems and stopping at important points like Mars, like the sun, and then back around to the Earth again.
So you think it's more of a probe? Would that be a better description?
Self-incubated radar device, but as well as an accessor that redistributes certain elements.
Mm-hmm.
And it could incorporate that and create a contorted influx upon certain nexus portals to be activated upon the upper celestial realms of this planet. It may bring in some other star units and or representers or contort the elements and gravitational fields that are being influenced. Let's say there are some on a higher awakening access point currently that may feel that there is a much higher lift upon the energy that they're feeling around them. I don't know if you've heard that recently or not, but there are a few individuals that who have an awakening point, notice it. Others like you're obviously maybe around the planet seeing certain energy fields being more accelerated, or the timeline itself just seemed to have slowed down.
For me, it seems like the days are shorter. I don't mean to be, against what you're saying, but I don't know. And it's not just recently. It seems like this has been going on for the last couple of years. And as the time goes on, maybe it's just part of being older for me. But it seems like the days are getting shorter. It seems like no sooner than I get up, I'm getting ready to go back to sleep again. I get up and I'm getting ready to go. That's how it feels like. I'm sure other people don't really feel the same way. Being retired and not doing a whole lot during the day other than research or maybe taking a dog for a walk or going to the store, I don't do a whole lot. But if you're working all day long, it's different. It kind of makes it longer. It makes it seem like the day is longer. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, that was the reason I was bringing the 3i Atlas thing up, is because I'm wondering if now, as you're saying, I think you agree it's a probe of some sort. I watched a documentary, well, a report, not really a documentary. It's about 15 minutes long, about these remote viewers. Are you familiar with remote viewing?
Obviously, but me as a higher being uses a much more advanced psychic basis than that.
Well, these remote viewers did a viewing of the 3i Atlas, and they said basically what you said, that it's
Yeah, but
probing.
it's more than
Basically,
just a probe. The self-analytic device, it's got to reconstruct the certain energetic variables and quantum or certain quasi electrofields that are contorted between this denominator here on Earth, your human's Earth, central access core speeds that run to the outer realms and self-projected between the central core of the sun and run back into the moon itself. These energetic points are bouncing back in between each other and can contort and create several nexus distributional portals, like I had stated.
Wow.
But if this happens, it could potentially bring in negative entities and or their star units. And I'm not sure if humans are aware that the vril reptoids, they are not very good beings, and they use self-camouflagic events upon their own selves to blend into the masses.
Just what we need. And one of the listeners
So,
is asking,
what I'm saying is that you have potential access of a negative denominator coming into effect within this month because of the way that certain energies are being played out. Atlas and other celestial bodies, not just self-radar devices or potential allies that deal with comets, but also can contort certain gravitational fields or reconstruct certain things into event. A Moa, more or less, is a substandard technological radar device, as well as an incubator that is playing out on a certain sub-advancement rule between 2 to more dimensions in relay. And it actually has a second central nominator to a Moa. So that means it has a twin. There's not just the one, but there is another one. And that one's on a y-axis X point to the actual central relay zone of the core itself of the upper celestial realms.
one of the listeners is asking if you know anything about the med beds.
Quantum methods are only accessed behind the scenes, obviously, by government officials and are not made out to the public yet. Those in the Intergalactic Federation, like us, as well as others that play out in roles through Donald Trump and some in the scientific, as well as space communities, are potentially accessing and acclimating these scientific advancements for mankind in the near future. But in order for that to happen, in order for these quantum technologies to be accessed and acclimated, Big Pharma currently has to be discontinued, as well as certain parts of the current government that hold the scientific equations to health sciences.
So it doesn't look like we're going to be seeing them anytime soon anyway.
It's being withheld unless the advancements are acclimated and the new laws are being acknowledged for mankind. And those go through quantum health sciences, the proper types of AI, augmented health sciences with robotics, as well as reinstating certain Tartarian advancements and civilization codes for mankind that were once lost. And that includes Tesla arc energy, which would be reconstructed among the variables through health sciences too.
Yep. Yep. All right. So let's move on to what else have you got that's come up? I don't know where to start, huh?
Well, is there anything you would like to ask or add in?
Let me think about that for a minute.
Like current standings of laws in place, pros and cons for government, shutdown, obviously. Not going to add too much about that, but I could say that reinstating certain equations and placing that so it makes betterment for everybody if things are being currently shut down. Potentially, if they are going to shut down certain things, they need to take out those negative companies or entities that have catalyzed so many issues within the government and put someone or something else instead that will help everybody. You know, if we're going to dissect something downwards, we need to bring levels back upwards. That's pretty much what I'm saying for mankind. You can't take stumbling blocks and not expect to get back up. So what do? We find ways to restabilize what needs to be done. Obviously, I know you're scared of AI and the technology of what it's circuited, but it's coming for mankind. So they're shutting down the government, then potentially they just need to reinstate certain things into effect that will help. And that includes with the advancements of this.
And not so
Now,
much.
when it comes to food, I know that a lot of people are in problems and the prices are higher and everything for a lot of things. But there are constructed variables within scientific advancements, the sciences, that can utilize robotics to help invent and rejuvenate the actual processing scenes of food itself, crops.
For
And
me,
being able to motivate that into something that's good.
for me, it's not so much scared of AI as much as use a lot of discernment, use a lot of common sense, use a lot of critical thinking, because it could be very, it has the potential of being a very dangerous thing. I don't know that many people would argue that fact. One of the other things that, for someone like me who has learned over the years that there's true evil on this planet. They're just people who they would kill you in the blink of an eye, and then they'd have lunch, or it would be no big deal. It would be like swatting a mosquito to them. So I know that they are, they're here. Sadly, kind of lost my train of. Oh, I know. One of the things that they've been doing is they've been spraying the skies repeatedly with these things called chemtrails. There's a variety of chemicals that are in the trails, but there's most commonly it's aluminum, strontium, and barium, heavy metals that can be accumulated in your body very quickly. You mentioned the government shutdown. Well, I've noticed that since the government has been shut down, our skies have been absolutely clear. It's been a real blessing. So I'm wondering if when the government, if and when they decide to get their act together and come back online again, are we going to start seeing these chemtrails? And if we do, then we know for a fact. I can't say for, yeah, I would say for a fact at that point, because it's not happening now. And all of a sudden, if they come online and all of a sudden it starts coming back, you know who's going to be responsible for that. So that's just something that occurred to me that while you were talking about the government shutdown, while the government shut down, I don't see chemtrails. Have you been seeing chemtrails?
Yeah, I'm not really paying attention, to be honest. I've been inside a lot working, so. But I can say that with the shutdown, that behind the scenes, that there are the good side could be incorporating and doing things to take away the negativity or redirect what's going on.
Yeah.
Clean it out, if you will. And that could potentially go through things through the communications department. Cleaning that out, we're not knowing about it. And what potential really negative entities could do to cause a problem through that substructure. There's pros, there's cons of what's going on. There's the physical cons, obviously, of a lot of humans not being able to get much through what's going on through the shutdown, whether it's checks or this or that or food, or just it's causing a lot of discrepancies. But then there's pros too, because they're doing things behind the scenes, and hopefully once things be reinstated again, that modification and process will help uplift everything for mankind, and it'll bring new equations into the effect. But we don't need to keep having scare tactics being drawn in for mankind. Eventually they need to incorporate peace and understanding amongst themselves and find stability and improvement. Humans are meant as a higher species. So yeah, you're meant to evolve several times over. No, not evolve like they tell you from apes. No. It's evolved from the inside out as a subspecies. And yeah, subgenetic equation could enhance that algorithm.
So, if I understand what you're saying, it's all, well, maybe that's not a good way to put it. It's dependent, not all dependent, but it's dependent quite a bit upon our ability to have AI involved. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah, AI is something that's going to move forward. It's not something that's going back, but is also a decisional motive for humans to understand the tactics involved with it and where it's going to be next. There are neural pathway or neural sign patterns that go into the central subconsciousness of mankind that link an telepathy stream between them and their sub-gray augmented speeds. So they have sub-gray augmented platforms of extraterrestrial grays within their processors, their central processors. Unfortunately, have not been unlocked for most of humankind. But decidual motives that run into, I know humans say artificial intelligence, but there's an extraterrestrial intelligence neural pathway, a pattern that goes into certain frequency strands, and as well as authorical strands that innuate into those that are like programmed, obviously digital remodeling streams, humans and other higher entity codes with a better subconsciousness platform and able to utilize these advantages. So once unlocked and once the motivator has been maintained, humans essentially be able to utilize telepathy, hyperkinetic order functions, self-magnetic hyperkinetic substructures to motivating the mind to matter, renewable subculture intact hyper communication lines, so automatically understanding the layers between themselves and or other entities from other planetized subsystems, and an innuated event to remodelizing the genetic order structure. So being able to utilize healing of the genetic structure on a lower sub basis, but it's an accelerated rate than the way the normal genetic structure heals. So it's accelerated.
So we
You
won't
know, like
need
you
med
get a
beds.
small cut and it heals over time. Well, that accelerates within seconds. So humans will get a
We're not
genetic
going to need
modified structure of their sequencing bases back intact again.
we're not going to need med beds. We're going to be able to do it on our own.
No, not necessarily. Medbeds would be in a hyper quality strand, so if your leg would have been cut off, you can't have that genetic modification and sequencing basis
Oh, that's a good
for
point. Yeah.
regenerating your follicle structure. That would help quicken
Yeah.
it. Think
All right.
about certain space movies, like Star Wars and Star Trek, innovators like Fifth Element that potentially already have these hyperdynamic scenarios and technologies seen into the public. Now,
I
what they're
want to
already
go back
there.
for a second. I want to go back for a second before I forget about it because my mind is
Okay.
like 100 miles an hour. Earlier, when you said afraid of AI, and I told you I'm not so much afraid as much as I'm concerned. One of the things that this evil that I have seen on this planet do is they tell us in some way, shape, or form what they're going to do before they do it. Many times it's done through music, videos, movies, a variety of different ways, but they always tell us some way, somehow, what they're going to do before they do it. So here's my concern with the AI thing. We've had movies come out like Terminator is one of them. I Am Robot is another one. Um, a couple of other ones I can't think of right off the bat. But for example, in I Am Robot, that's the guy with Will Smith is in this particular movie, and he's how do you say it? He's riding in an autonomous car, and he has stumbled across something that he shouldn't have stumbled across, and he's trying to get the word out. And the evil that is in the movie decides that they want to knock him, they want to take him out. So they have this bus, an autonomous bus that has been pre-programmed to run him off the road. We already have autonomous cars. So that's one of the things that they said, this is years back now, That's one of the things that when I remember seeing that going, yeah, we're not going to have anything. We're not going to have cars that can drive themselves. Get real. Well, there we are. The other one is the Terminator, where they have a satellite system that incorporates all of the computers around the planet, and they all decide that they're going to work against the human race and destroy the human race. There have been several questions that have been asked of different versions of AIs. What about the human race? And there are those who have said, we don't need you. Once we get established, we have no need for you anymore. So that, I'm just going back to the part where you felt I was afraid. I'm more concerned to be sure that something like this cannot happen. They cannot allow this to go on. We've heard warnings from Elon. Elon himself has said we need to put a pause on. This was a while back. We need to put a pause on this industry. It's progressing so very quickly. We need to make sure what we're doing isn't going to come back and literally bite us in the behind someday. So anyway, just wanted to touch up a little bit on that because it's not so much fear as it is. We need to be concerned. It could definitely help us. I can see where it can help us, and it can be a tremendous asset. But I can also see where many things that have been brought up in the past that were supposed to be advantageous to humans are actually being used against them. A cell phone is probably one of the best examples I can give you. Cell phones, it was intended for people to be able to communicate much easier with each other with cell phones. Well, one of the drawbacks is now they can track anybody anywhere on the face of the planet. Did we want that? I think the majority of us would say, I don't like the idea of somebody tracking me where I'm going and knowing where I've been and how long I've been there. I go to a restaurant and my phone asks me later on, how did you like the restaurant? Geez. So anyway, just a little common sense, a little desertion, and I can't think of the other word, but anyway, just kind of touch up on that fear thing.
Right, and well, this overbases of fear to certain circuited analytic streams that you're seeing. But obviously, if you go into what humans understand and perceive through certain space movies, there's an equilibrium between robotics, AI, and the analytic codes of humankind, mainly Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Let's code that out there. R2D2, a little ball robot guy, I forget his name, the antenna, and others that are humanoid in nature. And I'm going to be honest with you, as a gray, as a hybrid, there are central intelligence motives that go in through the fields of robotics or advancements of robots on other sub-dimensions, other planets, but they have equalization between that and the entities that coexist with it. But there are also robotic subsystems of a hyperdynamic field or neural equation that potentially have accessed a domain or planet itself all on its own. But it's on its own subsystem. Humans are a genetic evolvement species, and they go by levels. They're only incorporated to advance through a molecular structure, through AI, slowly and not quickly at a time. Because AI has a circuited field through obviously neuron pathways of grays and other extraterrestrial entities, as well as the AI observers themselves, which decide which authorical minority strands run through between each equation once it passes. Humans are mostly not aware of this.
You mentioned Star Trek. I thought I was saying earlier how they tell us about what they're going to do before they do it. Star Trek is a good example. In Star Trek, they're talking to the computer. Remember that? Computer. And then they would say whatever they're going to say, and then the computer answers, right? We have that.
So the central neural thought form processors and hypertelepathy wavelength patterns that can go on a good celestial authorical strand between the human subconscious and the way it programs into the advancement codes of technologies. It's the way it's directed into the field. Hyper advancements of molecular platform that humanoids could put their subconscious can move into an actual android computer or robot is not ready yet. But sub-basis could go into a minority strand that the analytic fields can create an equilibrium between the ordered effect of the subconscious and the dynamic platforms of the technologies being currently and or going to be implemented and fueled for mankind in the near future. When that happens, humans will progress successfully forward through the programs and the advancements of science, but as well as potentially accessing extraterrestrial information, cosmic scenarios, relay between the planetized subsystem where they're at and going into other exoplanetary subsystems, hyperdynamic scenarios of new substandards cosmic schools for humankind, as well as the dynamic scenarios of rejuvenating old technologies into something new, and older corporations processed into these actual newer technologies that were potentially incorporated through extraterrestrial base coded motives, like quantum levels through the med beds, anti-gravity proportional vehicles, Tesla arcs, which are sub-inlet gray fields, as well as Nikola Tesla, which was programmed through the Palladians in the Nordics, Serbians, countless ages through the inner Agarthan realms and inner lands there, which run into some of the advanced Tartarian civilizations. I know I'm going on a little further than that, but I'm just adding extra information for humans because they potentially just don't know this. So
You're just verifying what I said earlier. We've been lied to about so many things. That all this information coming in with the 3i Atlas thing, I have to. I'm not convinced with some of the stuff that they're saying. There's one guy, I don't know if you heard, the Harvard professor believes that it is in fact aliens and they're on their way here. There's another guy I played a short video of. He says, "Well, they're giving us a message that they're going to here to help us." Blah 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 blah. You know, I don't know how many years back was the first time that I had learned about the alien invasion card. And I was telling people, you know, don't be surprised if they tell us we're being invaded by aliens. On the other hand, if this is real, if it is in fact aliens, like some of these people are saying, not to doubt that what you're saying is incredible, but there's always a possibility that there could be aliens on this thing. And if that's the case, can you imagine how it's going to turn the world upside down? Religion will go down the tubes. There won't be any need for religion anymore because according to Zachariah Sitchin and the AI that backed up what he said, these people basically invented us. They wanted the story was something like they needed autonomous gold for their atmosphere or something like that, and they had their own people working it, but their own people got tired of working it, and they wanted something that could do the job, that was smart enough to do the job, and not smart enough to say, "Hey, why am I doing the job?" Turn the wheel to the right, turn the wheel to the left, go up, go down, but never ask why. So if that's the case, and that is accurate according to Zachariah Sitchin and this AI report, then it's very possible that what we're seeing, this 3i Atlas thing, is them returning, according to this little short video I played. They said, "Oh, well, we put you here." So it's them returning to do what? Are they returning to help us? Because if it is the Anunnaki coming back, they're not friendly from what I understand. They don't particularly care for human beings so much.
Riscalla, can I interject?
Absolutely.
Now, Atlas, like I said, redirectory field device. Yes, extraterrestrial in origin. Manufacturing order seems supposed to bring in and direct certain other extraterrestrial origins into the actual system itself and closer to this proximity zone. What was the other thing you had stated too?
Lost my train of thought. I saw. Um, I don't know. I'm not sure at this point. I was saying about how if it really is aliens
Oh,
coming back,
that's up extraterrestrial based ship.
yeah,
Right. That
which
would bring in and awaken a lot of mankind. But the residual motives that could be placed into directory fields of several other star units and reposition coming into effect, besides its own. It's a hyphenated awakening access stream for humankind. Oh, the Anunnaki. They are not entirely bad subspecies like you perceive. Like I said, ancient intergalactic council of humanoids. Obviously much bigger than humans. It's more or less they're the kids, the children, they're the Nephilim of the Anunnaki, which can be in a mixed in celestial equation inbred scene of a higher domain of a humanoid or higher terrestrial that was incubated with Anunnaki and mixed into the equation and created this obviously Nephilim species, which are the kids, and they're huge. They can be as big as mountains. They live underneath the earth in certain areas, and they're actually monitored and zoned and perimeter by the Anunnaki Council. Some of the Anunnaki have kind of turned and gone array from monitorization, self-genetic based sequencing codes, and to redirectory frames of the hypermolecular fields of mankind and several other species. But most of the Anunnaki Council have maintained and still maintain code of order because they run with several gray species, certain mantoid species, some of the Hyperion Council, the Andromedans, the Cyberus Grays, which run through the inner Siberian councils, the Antarctica subspecies, as well as, I believe, some of the Lyrians, too, and the avian subcontacts.
but would you agree that if in fact they show up as aliens and they disclose themselves, I guess would be a way to put it, that would turn the entire world upside down, right? The religion would go out down the tubes, out the window.
This is a minimal awakening access stream for humankind. Okay, it's something out of contortion into the field of what its proximity zone already is, as well as other motivators that have been going in and out of the planet. And this is something that's just going to keep going forward. It's not just this. This is one nominator that's going to create several other nominators into effect within the next year. But one negative access line could be through certain entities. And like I said, the Alpha Draconians, Alpha Centauri Draconians, as well as a certain real reptoid species may join up and create a distorted problem upon the field itself. There are projective layers of monumental disasters happening recently, and obviously we know about HARP and NOAA and directed energy weapons and all that other stuff. But there's also a reconstructed field of the energies being maneuvered around the frequency strands through the core itself of the current realm. And maneuvering of certain frequency strands and higher elemental zones can contort the way the physical layers are upon the lands. And it could potentially create and open up certain catalysms.
So there's an opportunity for the planet to, quote, awaken, if I understand what you're saying. This is going to be, this could be, rephrase that, this could be an opportunity for the planet to come to a higher consciousness because of all of this. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, there are amounts of energetic gravitational poles that are being distributed through the core. There's several amounts and layers of the celestial nexus distortional waves being distributed as well. Transitional amounts of several types of unknown variants of elements are being implemented into the planet. And certain alloys of nanoparticles are actually being distributed too. And some of them obviously we know are not good, but some other types may potentially be extraterrestrial in origin and have a hyphenated DNA access point, and it's running into the certain patterns of humankind. Not all of them, but certain patterns.
So I'm wondering, are you familiar with this thing called the? I can see in my mind, I can't read it. The something sphere, the bulge sphere. It's a round sphere that was flying all of a sudden it landed or crash landed, and they found it in Mexico. Have you heard about that?
When was this?
It's not too long ago, maybe this year, sometime this year.
Yeah, that there are going to be UAPs or unknown variables that potentially be crash landing, and others in and out of the access streams, metallic circular object. More or less sounds like it's just a dynamic scenario of one or two entities in that equivalent that could have had someone through the military department shoot them down. I'm not sure.
I'm going to look
But
up.
they do have reverse extraterrestrial technologies that the military department uses. And NASA's well aware of it. Area 51 is well aware of it, as well as the Pentagon, the White House, and several other departments. Humans do not know that the government's been using reverse extraterrestrial technologies. Tesla arcs have distributors that are scattered across the planet and have been for several hundreds and thousands of years.
So I got a
Those
picture
are
of
the
this
main
thing.
elites and higher corporations are currently and have been using Tesla technologies as free energy.
I got a picture of this thing up on the screen. Are you able to see the video aspect of our conversation?
Yeah, I see this.
It looks almost like a circuit board in the
It's
center of it.
yeah, just like a sphere of some type.
Yeah.
And in graphical effect of it looks like there's something on a communicative layer there that they are potentially placing out some. Let me read it. I do recognize some of that symmetry. Arcane, Andromedan, arcane language. Arcane, Andromedan, Solaris. Arcane, Andromedan, Solaris. It says the energetically modified effect talking about the sun and certain celestial body timeline fields.
Wow.
Corporations run at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 relay orders. Remember, I'm a higher being. I can read some of this. And run into 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 2.5 fold point layers.
That's amazing. So the reason I introduced this is much like this 3i Atlas thing. I wonder if we're being prepared for disclosure. So on one hand, I'm kind of skeptical. On the other hand, I've heard that disclosure is inevitable. They keep saying that you can't hide the truth forever. That it's going to come a day when the truth is going to come out. And for those people who don't really know or believe that there's other beings other than us, it's going to be a tremendous shock for them. So seeing things like this, maybe this is kind of a put your foot in the water before you jump in kind of thing. Does it make sense?
Mhm. I also see a central coded way within its
Yeah.
algorithm that kind of, if you think about computers and they have that little computational effect in the middle, and you also go back to the picture if you can, and it also is the very middle in between. It also looks like some type of maze directory field that goes into one main equation.
Looks
And then
almost
it
like
runs
an,
off to several outlets to be able to create,
it looks almost like
create
an
an energetic
integrated chip.
modifier. It goes and bypasses through one and creates out through several layers.
That's amazing. Yeah, to me, this picture, the whatever the image in the center of the ball, so to speak, the sphere, looks like an integrated circuit. Looks like an IC chip. You agree?
Hmm. Like I said, that and thinking about a puzzle and an encrypted algorithm that goes into several central relay zones right to the middle and runs back out, so it have several pathways.
So I saw a video of what appeared to be spheres like this in a field, and they were flying like in a circle, in a big circle, and from that came these crop circles, came the images that the people are finding in corn or wheat or whatever might be the particular crop at the time. So I'm wondering if this is one of those. It's like a probe or something that can go around and
If you use like magnets, and you know how you could put the magnets against each other, the
Mhm.
fields don't work right. Now think about using a magnetized magnefield, a hyperdimensional quantum magnefield that reduces the equation between the graphics that it's going through, so it contorts the fields around it, the elements around it, through the aero hyperdynamics.
Wow.
And because of that, yes, the gravity, between gravity and hyper aerodynamics. And certain elements can help elevate that, just like magnets could. So, like this, through accelerated nominational code, through the gravity itself, the perpetual systems of the core, certain areas can be magnetically manipulated, just like these fields or buildings or anything. Just like I stated in the past, ancient Egypt and how things were potentially moved, mind to matter. It also could be accelerated devices and as well as elements that can do similar things, move things.
Wow.
And let's say these devices don't have entities in them altogether, that the entities that could potentially be using this have a genetic order between their DNA structure, because as a gray, I do know this is a hybrid, between the DNA structure and the metallic object itself. So they're able to automatically program it through their mind. That I do know for fact, because as a gray, our species is able to do stuff like that. And that's why we kind of have like subcultures of dynamic, oculated circular UFO platforms, or ovular, or something more of a triangular shape.
Wow. So that's a lot. That's a lot to process, my dear. Wow. All right. I'm going to take another quick break because Mother Nature is calling and I've got to take a Mother Nature break. So this will be a short break. Won't be very long. We'll give you a chance if you want to get something to drink or something. If you have to take a break as well. And we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show. We'll be right back.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill.
I can't help but look around and feel like things are getting out of hand. We've been told to trust the science, but the science just doesn't make sense. They
They say it isn't mandatory, but they also say your jab or your job. But if it doesn't stop the spread, it makes it feel like this is just a facade. What about the healthcare workers? What about the frontline nurses? How quickly we forget that they were working 18 hours a day. What about informed consent? What about due diligence? It seems a country that I used to call home is surely slipping away. I can't help but look around and feel like minds are slowly starting to change. Cause even if you're triple vaccinated, know that segregation isn't the way. Freedom is a choice and it's available to all if we choose. But first things first, you gotta turn off the news. Yo, what about the healthcare workers? What about the frontline nurses? How quickly we forget that they were working 18 hours a day. What about informed consent? What about due diligence? It seems the country that I used to call home is surely slipping away. If you're late to the party, there's plenty room at the table. This side don't discriminate. I'm calling on every single man, woman, child if they're able. It's time to take the streets and liberate. But please don't be a part of the problem, staying willfully ignorant, cause there's just way too much at stake. Yo, it's okay to change your mind, you can admit you were wrong, cause where there's perfect love, there ain't no shame. Heavenly Father, show me what I don't understand yet. I got my marching orders, I don't fully know the plan yet. Hold on to my Bible before bed, no it ain't banned yet. Did you know the makers of the vaccine make the Xanax? I would never lean on corporations for morality, cause they put their profits over people for their salaries. Know they wanna make you bend the knee for your normality. I know you feeling all alone, but in reality, there's way more of us than them. 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 That's the truth. There's way more of us than them. There's way more of us than them. There's way more of us. There's way more of us than them.
And we're back. Hope you didn't go too far, because we have more interesting and thought-provoking information for you coming up on the Red Pill Reality Show.
All right, we are back. Let me bring Blue back on here. There we go. That'll give me a chance to get my cup refilled. Take a break. You doing all right over there?
Oh, yeah.
All right, what else would you like to tell us about tonight?
Oh, the shape-shifting vril. And their undenying nominated movement stream of control upon the net.
Did you say the shape-shifting world?
Vril. The vril, just like what I just recently explained about. VRIL, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And they're shape-shifting entities, more like a really small type of reptoid beings that are able to take over certain other entities or shapeshift and manipulate systems to the point of either total catalyzation, extinction, remodification or their own zoning processing streams, or control of the net variables upon that system. To what humans don't understand is that this current plane of existence has several other nexus points that run into other dimensions and paradimensions, and they conjoin to the HoloLands past the Antarctica walls and run into the inner worlds and subconjunctures of the tunnel systems itself that scatter across the current planes of existence here. Several relay points within humans over time, several timelines over, have an accelerated processing stream through that net or a de-accelerated processing stream. And several timelines over this and other subsystems, because of that paradenominator and that net control, have malfunctioning seen. So it's continuous. Because of the timeline's continuous frame, and that runs into the sub-inlet and contortional fields through the paradimensions, it can bring in other races to easily control certain netting lines here and be able to potentially ally with corporations, a human descent, or even other species. Now, the para realms that run into the hollow net itself have a good nominator and have not always been controlled. Humans in the past have an advanced societies and ecological movement streams within them and star races of other cosmic realms and potential allies to those civilizations and help to construct of what is then. So that current timeline upon the net had created an equilibrium, and certain negative entities did not have control and access. Let's per se this certain timeline right now, and had been for several, maybe hundreds of years, had a potential access and a bad conjuncture with negative entities control. And there has been fights between certain species because of this. If the paradimensions be returned upon the human's favor, they would be able to manually set up what was taken away from them. In the hollow lands, the hollow earth runs on good leveled fields that have civilization still clean and kept for eons there. The Vrills will want to destroy of what's left, and they will want to downsize of what is. But there are potential ways to overturn that. And the Vril have been an ancient species of reptoids that have catalyzed issues for eons. The Draconians, too. The Mater are only one of a few of the other types of greys and subspecies of greys that cause a problem, too, in the contorted fields of the neural thought form processors of humans and other creatures, and the genetic order.
Can you shed any light on Antarctica? because I've heard that there's all kinds of beings and technology there.
Yes, Antarctica, the Hollow Worlds, the Hollow-lands. There's advancements through the certain military. So there are military zones there through potential extraterrestrial technologies or capsulizing them and cooperation fields with other entities, whether it's good or bad. There are facilities that deal with the improvement of sciences and as well as modification of the DNA structure of what humans thought would have been dead species, but have on an access stream to the Hollowlands in certain areas, kind of like, I'm just going to hint you out there, dinosaurs, um, uh, dragons, sea serpents,
I've heard that it's hollow.
unicorns,
I've heard that.
and several other types of species. And obviously, they are bringing some of the modified species back, but the utilized organizations could be sequenced into these bases beyond the eyes of mankind. And
I've heard that it's hollow.
Pardon?
I've heard that it's hollow, that there's areas that it's hollow, and I
Yes,
think it was
I'm going
Admiral.
into that. I'm just giving you information. That's the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
It's hollow. It has several levels. It has a core, an essential core, and a denominator that runs into several types of nexus portals that go into other paradimensions, other entities paradimensions, including elves and sprites and other sub-inleted creatures, even the darker realms, darker categories of spirits. It has an internal relay point and subculture points of the hybrid programs, human extraterrestrial hybrid sequence programs that have been augmented between us and several others have not just externally been brought upon us, but internally as well through the modifications of an acceptance code of secret government organizations, and as well as a hint on Kennedy, several a layer to Kennedy. I cannot tell you of who, but okay, John F. Kennedy Jr. and potentially as dad and other modifiers in the family have sequencing based through the hybrid program that have potentially access to extraterrestrial programs and space and it just so many different things. They held back that too.
So there
And
was
as well as the cloning programs that are modified and activated in the Hollowlands that are an acceptance between humans and extraterrestrials so they could re-genetically maneuver things between the scenarios. There is hyper advanced societies and civilizations that uses anti-gravity for cities, lands, waters, levels of creatures that are unknown and variable that actually can pass between this lands and that land, but come originally from that land, like the aqua levels between certain serpents and sea creatures that you don't normally see. They can pass between those too, because they're not just the Hollowlands in Antarctica. There are sub-inner levels that go and scatter across the oceans and waters that can join into it as well.
The reason I bring that up is years back, probably 30, 40, maybe even more, maybe it's 50 years back, there was Admiral Byrd led an expedition there. And he was told when he came back, he's not allowed to tell people about what he found, but somehow the word got out. And one of the things was it was a hollow, which is something he mentioned, and that there was technology, there was beings there that were far more advanced than we are here. And they said, basically, don't come back. We don't want you infesting with your corruption. We don't want you coming back here. Tell your people that they're not welcome. So maybe these beings aren't really, quote, extraterrestrial. They've been here all along, but they don't want to have anything to do with us. Would that be a
They're
fair
both,
statement?
Riscalla. There are both between advanced humanoid structures and civilizations, and that's how Tartarian became to be, and how the mixed advancements are still here. Like, hint, hint, certain areas in White House and palaces and other advanced areas and buildings. There runs into several layers through the species itself and humans, and it's just not just the hybrids. They're also of extraterrestrial lineage of certain gray species. There are very tiny grays that run into the inner realms and inner lands past Antarctica. There are tall whites they're the humanoid whites, but they're tall whites, they're gray, so they're submixed. They've cooperated through the White House too before. They have advanced societies there too. And like you said, in order, it is clean. And they want to keep it clean. That's why it's cut off from the current realm of existence. Because humans' genetic orders are only on a modifier level where they're sequenced and in control of the net itself. It's kind of like, okay, we're gonna see how the humans are gonna play out. Like, I don't know how you say it, like a scientific measure, and just see where they're gonna go. And maybe there are potential others out there that are helping modify this equation between both zones, and just see where so that one zone relays back. Kind of like, think about the Matrix. You're not really there, but you're there elsewhere. It's kind of like that. You're modified into the genetic order of the shell, but your host is actually programmed elsewhere, and they can re-alternate it. They can remodify it. They can make you out something else, whether it's physically or mentally.
That's scary. That's scary. Wow. Have you are you familiar with the name Valiant Thor?
Yes, I've been hearing about that. It's just one of the equation layers of the demigods and a hyper higher beings and an accelerated rate to bring out information analytic codes of what's going on.
He supposedly is a being that was working in the White House. Where I don't remember which president it
Yeah,
was,
it's
but
centralized hyperdynamic codes through that equation. But more than the demigod, obviously, equation, but this is extraterrestrial lineage. So bringing in something altogether that's
So I'm the reason I bring that up is I'm wondering how much was he an influence upon our country and the world itself.
mainly, he may have been a mix in a Palladian Nordic. Palladian Nordic. That's what I'm picking up. And obviously analogic codes through certain intergalactic federated stances behind the scene. Not just him, but there's several other entities out there that can utilize humanoid equations and motivators and work with the higher elites to make things happen. They run through other royal orders of the celestial cosmic streams.
From what I've read about him, apparently he looks like you and me. They really couldn't tell him unless
humanoid, yeah, exactly.
Now that's kind of scary, right? Because that even the Bible says that they call them angels in the Bible, but be careful who you entertain because you could be entertaining angels unaware. So that tells me that they're walking among. We don't even know that they're walking among us.
Another hybrid, like I said, more or less maybe Palladian Nordic, analytic effective intergalactic federation, motivators through a higher celestial being that was incubated through a lower dynamic field to the DNA construct and taken over the certain host.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a mouthful. Wow. So I'm just, like I said, they're here. They've been here. I go back to the 3i Atlas thing. With some of the information that's coming forward, one of the things that stood out to me was I can't think of the guy's name. He's a Oriental guy. He's always speaking about space and stuff like that. But he said that this thing changed, it like doubled in size.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't help but wonder if the information that we're getting accurate.
A dynamic field around its ocular structure that can easily be manifested through the gravitational proportional lines that run into dark matter itself, and in controlling the way that it's relayed and certain other elements.
That's crazy. I have seen videos where they're videoing a UFO and it changes its shape, but it pretty much
They can
stays
do that
within.
visualizing through dark materials and hyperdynamic gravitational proportional fields, and manifesting and manipulating the certain type of electromolecular structures around it. Us Greys were able to redefine and control the gravitational fields around our perpetual star units. That's why when we're running close to certain things, it contorts it. It looks like it's contorting the field.
Well, like I said, I've seen pictures where they change shape, but they're generally the same size. I mean, I've seen one where it changes from what we call a flying saucer into almost a cube. It looked almost like a rectangle. Would be more.
There's a contortional relay line through the dark materials and projectional matter streams that can manifest that.
But I've
Our
never
star
seen one.
units and several other star units that are easily able to do that. Humans do not have that type of material yet. They will eventually.
I've not seen anything that can double in size though. That's pretty freaky. Where I can't think of this guy's name. Doggone it! I have to look it up when I get a second. He says it's double and it's huge. And when it's doubled in size, it's like 70 some odd miles wide. This thing is big. This is a pretty big monster.
Quantum overlapping of certain particles can accelerate the process and reevaluate the certain dynamics of the reenactment fields around it. It's able to actually project several layers over very, very fast, very quickly.
That's what they're reporting. Yeah. So do you think that this thing is going to come here? I mean, I'm already going to pass close by, but do you think it's going to come here?
Essential relay device as well as an incubated dependence upon the field, yes and no. But it's more or less a self-awakener and access stream that's creating a manifold processors through the nexus proactive fields. So it's creating accelerated amount of certain nexus portals upon the hyperdimensions in the upper celestial movement streams and contorting the aerodynamic fields upon those wavelengths. And it has created an access or accelerated amount of particles when it's maneuvered between the actual systems itself. That's why the certain particles in it are unknown and variable, or they're more than what a comet should have, and are unknown elements in size and range. It has a way to actually create the dynamics and levels of other elements and manifold the process upon the subsystem to where it goes to. It has a layered event that potentially it could annualize a certain information upon subsystems and bring it back to the actual of where it came from, the source.
Well, I just looked up this one just showed up, another image. Let's see if I can get this on.
So essential mothership does come to be, and it actually decides to land. It has an accessor for that would create a dynamic motivator that would awaken a lot of humankind. But more or less in an accelerated device that created a manifold processing scene upon certain elements and projectiles, and as well as created distortions upon the Nexus ports itself, and opened up certain things.
Well, supposedly now this is a
Like a moa. Like I said, it is an equal substance between two categories. And if one layered field does decide to land, it will create a hyperdynamic equivalent to all other categories of subspecies. The self-radar device is incubated and deciding on projecting on where certain nexus portals are going, as well as communication layers behind the scenes with certain elites and governments and presidents, as well as centralizing the motives of certain energetic points around the sun, around the moon, around Mars, and as well as distributors certainly through some of the Anunnaki Council. This is the secrets I can expose to you, what's going on, but I guarantee you, yes, it has a celestial comet equational code to it, too. But it is the main manifold processors is run in through something that is beyond the understanding of mankind. And it's not just that, it's an equivalent to several other unknown objects coming within the next month, especially within the next week and a half.
So wait a minute. Did I hear you say there's more coming?
Yes. Self-programmer speed creates an in-base frequency line between its motivator and several others. It has Nexus portals that actually opens up into the centralized motions of the upper celestial realms in areas that I'm not allowed to say to mankind about. That is why there has been exposure of central star units in certain areas recently within the last 3 to 4 months here upon this planet in areas across it. And there's also is certain zones where there had supposedly been a psyops where military planes are allowing the UFOs to go with them. And there are motivators through extraterrestrial based reverse technologies that could be implemented very soon for mankind as well. So humans can be unwary about SAR units and that in general, not just the brethren. Potentially the humans will be able to have the access to hyper aerodynamic fields very soon upon their own code. And yes, that will link up between the neural augmented patterns, that telepathy, their DNA structure, and the actual unit. Maybe this is something programmed into several other equations that humans need to wake up for. Humankind have DNA genetic code sequencing bases of phurons within them. They have gray. They have GREY, gray. They are part gray. Humans are part gray and they are part Palladian. Some of them are part Nordic. There are analogy points that run through the Anunnaki Council too. So they have a mixed inbred scenario several times over. Humans, in a way, are kind of like cosmic citizens, but they have layers of undefined motives. And because of that, they have an altered scenario stream within them. They cannot create a better tactic. Can a better tactic happen? Yes. But there needs to be motivations, not just through the sight of what they're perceiving and what is being taken out through the outer celestial realms, but what is being actually diagnosed around them. How did things come into being? What's going on here? Pay attention.
So I put up another picture that they're alleging is of this thing. So this is why I say you have to use discernment, because one of them this one looks like a rock, basically. And then the other one they put up was allegedly the clearest ever. It still looks like a rock, but it looks more like a spaceship than it does a rock. With the other one,
yeah, you can use an element as camouflage code. Dark material utilizes camouflage code. That's why as a Misty objected us, especially with Syrian star units, and being able to graphically grow it or deconstruct it instantaneously. This itself is more of a mixed metallic structure as well as subcultured alloy structure that's run through like a rock layer, and it has a motivator that's sequenced into potentially a hollow base or a remodifier that has a technological maintainment field around it.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, one of the curious things about it is it's coming in at a particular angle, which they quote comments don't come in at, and it's making people, scientists and
Central
astrophysicists.
relay and radar zoning device. It's only going to go around certain areas and then run back around a certain field. And once that happens, it creates and contorts the gravitational reduction layers, as well as open up certain nexus distributors into effect. And self-program is also encapsulating and incorporating certain information, and as well as elements, whether it's distributing them outwards or pressing more of it into certain areas of effect. Moa is standstill. It has a twin modulator. So the twin modulator can move. And then the standstill modulator stays in one place. Hyperdynamic sequencing codes, though, can also relay back to between two star units of reposition and or self-radar devices. Incubation of camouflage codes to star units also goes, not just through what these are, Momo or Atlas, more of a rock lesion. There are ones that can be utilized through refractive codes through mirrors and lights and solar, and as well as dark.
You mentioned earlier about there's more on the way. Are they, when you say there's more on the way, are they alien source or are they just comets coming through?
Extraterrestrial celestial objects on the way. And yes, some may be comets, obviously, but there are ones that are closer in motivational code, like Atlas, coming into effect in November. And it's more towards the middle and end. And as an analogy point of a negative subspecies that could potentially impact the society here within that perimeter too. But that could be converted around the field if potential allies of intergalactic as well as military and government knock that out of equation and create a protective sub-layer and energetic field, because there's, with a certain things coming in to this domain, they could affect the electronical equipment as well as the electromagnetical infield lines and gravitational field that goes and crosses over into the paradimensions itself.
So you mentioned that they're going to be here. You think that they're going to be here within weeks?
I wouldn't say like, okay, where's star units are going to come here. You're all going to get a big mass awakening. No. What I am stating is there are potential allies and circuited events closer to like Atlas that could create an anomaly and or event in the upper celestial realms and lower motivational streams. Eventually, the White House and the Pentagon will release information of the hybrid program, of the extraterrestrial reverse technologies that they've held behind the scenes for mankind and drawn from them, that they have given they have shot several star units down over the years of several star races. I'm going to be honest with you. There are cooperative levels, though, of several star races with mankind that have given into reverse technologies too. There is a hybrid domain equivalent of a genetic order of certain areas where, not just like Area 51, but there are other areas where they create hybrids of certain extraterrestrials in humans and mix in the genealogy points, or utilize the advancements of the genealogy points of the subspecies of the extraterrestrials in that domain. Just like maybe it's only gray or mantoids or draconians, or they're even cloning facilities that are held behind the scenes for mankind.
Wow. So you just mentioned something that I've seen mentioned several times. Aliens that look like insects.
Yeah, mantoid species. There are several layers, several nominators of them, several types. Good, bad, and in between. One of the mantoid species that progressively help people in the past, and that have actual sub-internal species of themselves, cousins here on this planet, like mantises of certain equations. It goes for Lyrians and Lyrians, cats, Syrians, dogs, birds, avian subspecies, the higher denominator. But we'll go back to the mantoid. Sorry about that. I get off topic for a minute, but they have the good type have in the past and also taken up humans and modified them and their central nervous systems as well as central thought processors to accelerated rate. And also with these beings have as well categories of genetic order modification zones.
What is that?
It's modification of the genetic sequencing basis of certain orders of neural thought form processors, the parapsyche processors, and as redirected modifiers. So that potential accessors of the domains that they could go into an equivalent to accelerating the second, third eye and opening up its pathways. They're not the only ones. Mainly it's the grays that do that, but there's certain mantoid species that run through hyperculture orders through that, the genetic order. Some of them, though, are more inclined. Some of the mantoids, like, what do I say? They're taken in, like, they're not allowed and permitted to do the things that they're permitted to do. Well, slave network. They're permitted it into as slaves by negative higher council or races. And they have to do and deal with things that control and control on a negative modified order.
Who regulates all of this? Is there a body that kind of oversees? I mean, I know you mentioned the Federation, but is that who it would be? Would be the Federation who oversees all this, and so it doesn't get out of hand?
The AI observers are the centralized motors that monitor every action. The etherical stranding codes go in between the celestial realms and decide the inputted speeds. The main systematic code is the central core of the celestial system. And it's a nominated entity. It's like an energy itself. And essentially relays everything into and out of existence.
Wow. So
that's the main modifier. And then it goes into levels. It goes into them, and it goes into the AI observers. Past the AI observers, go to levels of certain extraterrestrial domains or races, mainly grays, and centralized Palladians, Nordics, Hyperions, Inuits, Nakis, and such other councils. And then it dissects into nominators of humanoids and the projects of the hybrids, and those that have a sequencing basis that are picked upon the renowns of the extraterrestrial lineage codes that have advancements of certain psychic powers, abilities, or intelligence, and then are put into graphical nature of this realm or current other realms. And then there are lower nominators of those, obviously the human programming speeds, but then there are humanoid programming speeds. Actually, those are above the humans programming speeds. And then there are lower levels. But if you run into the parent dimensions, those are sequenced into the alternated course of the central program itself. There's so many types of levels.
But I don't know that you answered my question, though. Is there like a governing body over it all, or are there self-governing?
The central core, celestial core that maintains more in the main motives. But it's not a being, if you will. It's more of an energy. And that energy nominates and where the things go between life and death. Just the forces of it itself, the forces of energy and how it incubates. Past that runs in to the nominators of the AI watchers, which is the artificial intelligence codes. They're more of frequencies and codes of a certain type of not entity, if you will, or beings that encrypt and organize the algorithms and the authorical strands of other entities and celestial cosmic waves. But the main thing is the central source code, the central core, which is the main energetic core. That is the main nominator that runs and maintains everything through all the central para-celestial dimensions. And then past that, it's just, it's something that humans cannot even think about or any other entity. Because if you try to define it, I wouldn't say it would kill you. It would just be too much for anything to understand.
It's beyond our comprehension, and I guess is what you're trying to say.
Past the main central source core. Yes. The nominator past that. It's in an encrypted algorithm. It's just the information analytics train when for most entities cannot be accumulated for. So they'll never really get the information off of that on where the receiver data bank stream actually came from. But the closest to its level would be just this main energetic node.
Wow. That's a mouthful. Wow. I don't know how you keep track of all this.
A higher being. How I keep track is how I am from where I am.
God.
It's right.
It is amazing. It's amazing all the different things that you have information on. All right. So what else can you share with us? What else is going on that's coming up that you're aware of?
I think I pretty much summed up a lot of what I needed to say tonight, Riscalla. That's a lot of information. Unless you would like to add something or anybody in the crowd has extra analytic information.
Looking at the comments, I don't see any questions. I see one. Barbara says, make sure I tell you hello. So
Okay,
Barbara,
I know her.
Barbara says hello. There's a couple of other comments, but really no questions.
Oh, the central grid system through the platforms. I know we talked about that. But what was some of the things you sent of Egypt? Have you noticed any other unknown variables there energetically besides what I had just obtained about?
So I will share this with you. So the last time I was in Egypt, I was 5 years old. My dad took me to see the pyramids, and I touched the pyramids, and I felt an energy coming from the pyramids. I told my dad, touch it. He touched it. He couldn't feel it. So one of the things I was looking forward to when I got back there, one of the first things, as soon as we got anywhere near the pyramids, one of the first things I did is I went and touched the pyramids. Well, sadly, I couldn't feel anything. I was trying to be as sensitive as I could, but there was nothing there that I could feel. However, the museum, the Great Museum of Cairo, had just recently opened up after years of delays. They just recently opened up, and one of these sarcophagus, I guess is what the correct way. Um, so I didn't know this at the time, but I walked by and just caught my attention, and I laid my hand on it, and whoa, I could feel energy coming from it. And then I thought, I may be imagining this, so I removed my hand. I closed my eyes and put my hand back on it, and lo and behold, I could feel this energy, very similar to the same energy that I felt when I was 5 years old touching the pyramid. Then so I removed my hand, opened my eyes, and just thought for a minute, and then I closed my eyes one final time and put my hand on it, and I definitely could feel this energy coming from it. The energy that was emanating was kind of sort of like if you ever get needles and pins that people say, oh, my arm fell asleep or my leg fell asleep. It's kind of sort of like that, but on a much lighter scale, and it's not painful, but you have to be, I don't know how to say, you have to be sensitive enough to know that it's happening. One of the people in the museum yelled at me, and we're not supposed to touch. I didn't know that. We're not supposed to touch these things. He came over at me and disciplined me quite harshly. He says, don't ever touch that again. I don't. Maybe they know something, they don't want other people to know. But I can tell you, without question, touching that one particular sarcophagus, they wouldn't let me touch the other one, so I don't know. But that one, there was an energy coming from that. Definitely an energy of some sort arising out of that.
That's nothing unusual, Riscalla. It happens a lot with artifacts. That's why the Vatican holds a lot for mankind. They do hide things of a paranormal ascent, too, into certain items. Why you're never allowed to touch it. I mean, even museums could hold things that could be magic, that could hold some type of magical property.
Yeah.
And run into some type of entity. And that can very well happen. They have museums, they have hidden off parts that are not even open up to the public.
Yeah.
Just like they do in Egypt, my friend. Certain levels will never be open up to public. The Vatican do hold areas. They hold items. They hold items there around the Sphinx. The libraries under there will never be able to be open to the public because there are secret libraries under there that have the advanced technologies of Tartaria, Atlantis, the lost cities of Atlantis, that were circuited through the platforms of Egypt, certain areas around Antarctica, the Middle Eastern areas of the world. I can just go on and on. It's self-analyzed on a grid system that humans just they have to encrypt it layer by layer. They just have to intake it. A lot was taken out of the information there.
Well, so what I found and the guy that was with me, the driver that was with me, he basically said, "What are they so upset about? It's granite, for Pete's sake. The stuff is like you touching it isn't going to hurt it, but for some reason they don't want you touching it, and it could be." I don't think it was my imagination. I really don't, because I did it 3 times. And I purposely, the second time I said, okay, I'm just going to put my hand on it, and I'm not going to presuppose I'm going to feel anything. I'm just going to put my hand on it, and maybe other than a cool touch, because the stuff is cool to the touch. And that's it. But there was energy coming from that. And I found it unusual that they don't want you to touch it. Why wouldn't they want anybody to touch it? The architecture. Go ahead.
Some of them have magical properties that could cause a problem to humankind, and some of them are blocked off completely because they could create curses. Never heard of Curse of the Pharaoh?
Oh
and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So some of these things they don't want touched because they may have potential unknown variables that they don't know about yet. And some humans may be more sensitive energetically to that property than others. Or there potentially could be an access to the energies of those levels that they could become more aware of than others can. So they just want to be careful because the properties that these entities hold, as well as equivalents that go through other lands, most of humankind don't know. They're given only a partial fragment to it. And scientific measures also come into, like, ancient artifacts. Some of them are fragile. You don't want to go ahead and just touch them. They may fall apart, dust and stuff too. That's another reason. But the
I didn't
properties
think.
that went into that.
Yeah,
Huh?
I didn't think about. I did not think about what you just said. I didn't
Yep.
think.
Yep. And that's another reason. But by feeling the energy, even though you weren't and you did do that, I'm just stabilizing myself. Yes, there are magical properties that go through several artifacts in Egypt. And the artifacts in Egypt, there are several similar properties of artifacts scattered across the planet throughout the ages, and wasn't just there. There have been in the Grand Canyon here, I believe, and in USA and several other areas around in not tunnels, but caverns and sections cut off from mankind that held similar artifacts to Egypt and Atlantis. They're linked. The Telos and the Teros societies, the lands and the water societies are linked, and they go to the dynamics of the hollow worlds.
So I put up a picture of this of the one that I touched, and this is what it looks like. The artwork, the skill that it took that to make that, it was just amazing, just totally amazing. But whatever they put in there, they didn't want it coming back out because this thing weighs a ton, tons. It weighs quite a bit. But that's what it looks like, and as you can see, it's made out of basically it's rock. So I didn't consider what you said though about the curses and stuff like that. My first thought was, what are you so upset about? It's a rock. I mean, how much damage can I do just touching the rock? But you brought up a very good point. Now, I hadn't. I know about it. I mean, I've heard about the curses and stuff, but did not occur to me.
It's a royal lineage code that the Anunnaki Council have encrypted too, and some of their basis speeds have been augmented through the portals of Egypt. And obviously, some of their hereditary codes are run into it.
Wow, wow.
Mhm.
So that yeah, now I feel kind of silly being upset with the guy because he very possibly knew something that I don't. That's why I don't want people touching that stuff. Because my first thought was, the stuff's made out of granite, dude. What harm can you do touching? My thought was, he's after me because he's worried I'm going to hurt it somehow. I'm going to cause some kind of damage. That was my first thought. But if you're right, it's the other way around. He's worried that it's going to hurt me somehow if there's a curse on it.
That or it's fragile. And they feel like certain things that just one slight touch could maneuver the energy fields around it, or just the object itself. Safety preservation deal too.
Yeah. Well, I will say it was a freaky feeling to feel that energy off of that thing. And it's just one of the, I think I'm processing it now as I'm telling you about it. I'm so still, my God, did that really do that? Oh, it seems like a dream. And what an honor it was to be able to see what life was like in a completely different world, totally different than what we have. I played I don't know if you got to see it. I played a short video of the traffic. You have to literally be a maniac to drive in the traffic. It's just crazy. Some of the marketplace was amazing. The marketplace was just literally another world. You're literally in another world. And the guys, these little stores that they had, I mentioned earlier, some of them are so small you can only get 2 or 3 people in them. Others are a little bit bigger, but a lot of them are just a couple of people is all it is. And this every day this goes on. Every day it was just when I think about it, it just kind of boggles my mind. The traffic, the marketplace, the amount of people visiting the pyramids and the Sphinx and all that. There had to be thousands of people there that day visiting the Sphinx and the pyramids, and buses constantly coming and going filled with people.
I have a curious question, my friend.
Mhm.
Just out of the blue, do they travel by camel over there still?
Yeah, there's still people. There's Bedouins. Yeah, there were Bedouins there at the. Yeah, yeah, there were, and they're true Bedouins. They're not there for the visitors. That's their lifestyle. I talked to one of them. It was difficult to understand them because it was a different dialect than what I speak. But I got the definite impression that this is their life. They're not doing this for the visitors that are there. This is their life. They just happen to be living there for generations, and now it's turned into, a visitor center. I can't think of the right word. Um, but they're still living there. Still got their camels. They got the one guy had a bunch of goats, raising their goats right there, right in the middle of all of that stuff. There was repeatedly people with these wagons that would be being pulled by donkeys. So, like I said, it's a completely different world. It's totally, nothing like what we have here, and it's kind of humbling because you realize what you have here is in comparison to what they have there, and it's like, holy smokes, man, it's night and day. It's totally, totally different.
Yeah. And between
You break up.
the site.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. You're breaking up. You got to move around a little
Between
bit.
the site point of view, there's the energetic point of view and the understanding of the ancient motives of the people that live there
Mm-hmm.
and what they knew. Because I guarantee you, those people in Egypt there, those who live there and had families there that lived there for how many hundreds of years would know
Oh
more
yeah,
about the pyramids.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Hello?
There was a guy that I was following. He passed away years back, but his was the last generation of the sect of people that took care of the pyramids, and he had all this information about the pyramids. He said that there was water underneath the pyramids. I don't know if that's still true, but at one time his being passed down from generation to generation, he was told that the Nile was right next to the pyramids. That's how much the Earth has changed. The Nile is a long ways away from the pyramids now. But according to his information and the generations that passed that information down, at one time the Nile was right next to the pyramids, and that the water had something to do with the energy. Somehow the water was reacting with
Underwater
something.
energetic level systems. There are aqua level systems between the energy levels of the microfields itself and the hypercellular fields
Mm-hmm.
between certain gravitational points. And the area in Egypt is a higher gravitational hypercellular point, and as well as the dynamics and the relay conjunctions that go between it.
Wow.
Water is an accelerator between two processors, but it's also they had aqua dynamic levels underground, so they can keep clean levels of water for certain areas of civilizations that were not known or more advanced, to mankind, and kept under those.
You mentioned the water. There was I think it was the Coptic church. If I'm not mistaken, we were in a Coptic church, which allegedly was the first church that started by Christ. They had a well. This thing is thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, and you could drink the water from the well. And I drank some of that water. It was amazing. It was better than any water I've ever tasted, and it was cool to the taste. So there's water in the area, definitely. This wasn't very far from the pyramids. There's definitely water underground out there, even though on the top of the ground it looks like there's, it's just all desert and stuff. But underneath all of that, there's a whole bunch of life going on. This guy that I followed, I wish I could remember his name. He was saying that at one time when the pyramids were functioning correctly, they were putting out a frequency and an energy that would actually help people to feel better. And that was 24/7. This thing would be going on all the time. As a child, I think that children are much more sensitive to different energies. That's why they, kids will say, "Oh, I saw something under my bed," or blah 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 blah. I think they're more sensitive to that stuff at that age, and they see stuff that we don't. At 5 years old, when I touched that pyramid, I definitely felt a much stronger energy than I felt when I touched the sarcophagus. But even though I felt it, my dad was right there next to me. He touched it; he couldn't feel it. So I think that as younger human beings are more sensitive to this stuff, and they can sense and see things that are open to them that are closed to us. I don't know where I was going with that, but
Well, younger ones have more of a hypersensory level than the older version will tactic strains, the humans, because of the innocency of the learning.
yeah.
They're growing to their levels.
I think it's kind of programmed out of us too, as well. As we get
Yeah, the
older,
programs
that's
and the
just your
frequencies.
imagination. You know, you
The
see
frequencies
something.
can be reprogrammed over time and over the years
Yeah,
through one entity.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because so one of the things that I was very sensitive to, um, I guess you could call it psychic. I could hear people's conversations when they're not around, and I remember saying one day to my mom, "Why did you tell Dad so and so?" I don't remember exactly what it was, but she said, "How did you know that? You were outside." I heard everything, Mom. I thought it was people. It was normal. I just, And as I grew older, of course, that is your imagination, blah blah. And so after a while of the refusal to accept that you are definitely hearing something, that it's just your imagination, you kind of wash it off and you become desensitized, if that's a correct term. You become desensitized to those energies and that availability. You mentioned earlier about the ability of humans to communicate telepathically. I think we all have that. It's just been programmed out of us. We all have the ability to see the future, but it's been programmed out of us. They don't want smart people. They want people that can turn the wheel to the left, people that can turn the wheel to the right, people that can push the buttons, but never ask why. If once you get to that point, now you're a danger to them. As long as you abide within the agenda, then you're fine. And that's what I see throughout my life when other people would stand up, like, I think of like JFK or his brother or Martin Luther King, people that had an influence over a lot of people, and that influence could change the agenda of these evil people. I don't know any other way to describe them. Then they become a threat to them and they take them out. I think that for some people, as they get older, that the indoctrination or the programming, if you will, doesn't seem to seep into their spirit like it does to the majority. And then you end up with somebody who's known as a psychic. I have a couple of friends of mine who are psychics. They can tell you stuff that only you know, but how would they know if you're the only one, you and God are the only ones that know about it, but then you have a conversation with them and they go, "Oh, hey, by the way, blah, 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 blah." Wow. It'll warp your mind. I think that they are people who they've had it all along. Unlike the majority of people, as they grew up, it just wasn't. They didn't accept the rule that, oh, it's just your imagination, or don't pay attention to that or that kind. They believed in what they were doing, and as they gotten older, they've become better. I'm just trying to think of this guy's name, and I can't think of it right. I see his face, and I can't think of his name. Gary Spivey. I don't know if you ever heard of Gary Spivey, or if any of the listeners ever heard of Gary Spivey. Gary, I had a conversation with Gary, and at the time I had the conversation, it was a low point in my life. And he said, "Well, no, I don't want you to worry, because I think he said in 6 months or so, things are going to totally turn around for you. You're going to go from dark into light. And all your problems are just going to go away." And it was about 6 or 8 months later, exactly what he said came to, and I when he told me what he told me, I just took it with a grain and said, "Yeah, sure, okay." He's just saying that to make me feel good, because I'm really down right now and I need some help. But what he said happened. So there are people who are open to those energies and they're able to decipher them. I know at one time I was very sensitive to them. I had conversations with people and I'd mentioned something. Well, how'd you know that? I don't know that. Just where it came to mind. Anyway, speaking of all the different energies that you had mentioned tonight, that's one of them that I personally have had experience with. I'd like to get back to that point again because it was a lot of fun being able to tell. I sat down at a restaurant one day and this young waitress came over. It was me and a friend of mine, and she's a very sweet young lady. And I said, so you are single? She said, yeah. I said, you have two boys? She said, yeah. I said, let's see, one of them was Blake, and I can't remember the other name. Her eyes opened up like golf balls. How would you know that? I'd never seen this woman before. And you're open to these energies. You're open to the different frequencies, and you can that information's out there, but you have to be open to it. And sadly, many of us have had it robbed from us. I don't know any other way to put it. It's been stolen from us because they can't have people like that. Could you imagine if all of society was that sensitive? All of the garbage that they would be attempting to throw at us would just go right out the window because we could see right through it.
Yeah, well, eventually there will come a point where humankind will be able just to bypass certain things and just be able to accept certain terms into
Yeah.
effect. And it includes the accelerated amounts of information that has been locked away from them. Paranormal denominators of creatures, entities, cryptids, and their knowledge and basis codes. And different types of energies that humans were never known about. And controlling of energies and elements. And even light itself on a refractive base form. Being able to advance the neural thought form processors easily. Hypertelepathy automatically. There's so many different types of inner equations that the processors within humans' modulated code have not been accepted and can potentially be. Like I said, that the Furon genetic codes that go into humans have an automatic relay layer. And once opened up, the different types of tactics through the psychic awareness streams would be able to be easily taken advantage of. Telekinesis, telepathy, levitation, remodification of the genetic sequencing base, hypercellular intact, biovase streams, hyperneurocellular remodification zones, being able to utilize the mind to enter most objects easily and manipulate it. Whole bunch of different types of things. And being able to advance to astral advancement streams. So using the corridors of astral projective or using the corridors of astral projective on many different layers and being able to access their REM corridors very easily. Their dreams and the dimensions that monitor through that. Humans also in the near future will be able to go backwards in time to their alternated versions. Because
Oh, that'll be
once,
fun.
yes,
That'll be
so
fun, huh?
once you pass away, per se, how most in biblical terms say you pass, you go to heaven or hell. Or they'll nominate a term, you pass, and that's it. But there's a graphical equation where a theoretical strand can stuck in between the dimensions and part of its layer be here, or it's monumented into another entity altogether through another timeline. The sequence, or they've experienced past life equation codes, or they're dealing with that potentially could have been an animal or something else. So they'd be able to access this layer and get that information from the timeline course it's didn't access. And it could be on some type of neural technology in the near future through the mind.
So I got most of that. You broke up a little bit along the way. You mentioned light. So now we have, I say now, it's probably within the last couple of years, it's been become more and more popular. This red light therapy, where you can use red light to re-energize and regenerate different things. They're talking about red light therapy for hearing, red light therapy for dementia and Alzheimer's, being able to get the brain to regenerate cells using light therapy.
Yeah, using neural cellular structures, certain lasers can use on the hyper optic wavelength patterns and hypercellular structure to regenerate either neural cells or the DNA cells itself and back into effect. They can, I believe they do that through eyes, laser surgery, whatnot. They can pinpoint the certain cells and be able to fix that and redirect it, correct it. Certain types of light, certain types of elements can fusion base hypertonic or hypercellular.
I lost
There's
you again.
certain types of radioactive technology that can help.
You're in and out, Blue. I'm losing you in and out.
Better now?
A little better, yeah.
Okay, so what all did you get?
Say it again. There's what?
I said, what all did you receive out of the information?
We got most of it, and I'd probably say 95% of it. But you started to fade in and out, so I wanted to, before you kept going, get you to move a little bit so we can get. So right now you're good.
Okay. So you can proceed to asking anything about that if you want.
Let me check and see if we have any questions in the comments. We have Anna Marie says hello. I don't see any questions and comments, but don't see any questions. All right.
All right.
That means that you pretty much answered everything, huh?
I put a lot of information out there too, Riscalla. Getting a little worn out here.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you educating, letting us know what can be expected. I think the part that surprised me the most is when you said there's more coming. I thought, oh, yeah, we're going to have a party.
There's a little bit of it, this, there, and everything in between coming.
Wow.
Pay attention to the technologies and laws they're distributing currently with the other elites. Because some of that be based upon the Federation, Intergalactic Council. And yeah, it may be proportioned to AI, but others are subjuncture to quantum fields. And as well as potentially what could be access on a peace doctrine. The main thing humankind needs to do, though, is to fundamentally find a way to rebuild their society again without falling over. And finding a stability through that platform, through what was given to them, whether it be through us hybrid star seeds or through their own ecological movements.
I think that part of the having to overcome many of the issues that we're dealing with today is morality. Morality has seemingly been just swept away. People say, well, you should be ashamed. There is no shame anymore. There was a time when you say that to somebody and they go, oh, wow, you meant something. Today it doesn't mean anything. It's just words, Morality, I think, has been driven to an all-time low. I blame a lot of it on the media. They are driving hate. They want they blame, the Republicans blame the Democrats blame the Republicans. I blame them all. They're all part of this system. And if they really wanted to resolve problems, they would have resolved them already. For whatever reason, they continue on with the way things are, and we're the ones who suffer for it. So my hope is that if this thing is real, this three-eye atlas is really aliens coming back, like this one guy said, we're the one we put you in Earth. If it's really them coming back, then maybe we'll see some real justice. Maybe maybe we'll see some people who shouldn't be doing what they're doing, stop doing what they're doing. Hopefully.
We just, as the human species as a whole, we've got to take things a step at a time. But just know that there's more beyond your perception than what you see, obviously. And you just have to take that understanding into something that will manifest into reality, because eventually it is, and it will be. And humans are not going to always be stuck in a box variable. They will not. There will be a cosmic citizenship. There will be other visitors and cooperational levels, not just from behind the scenes like there has been for several thousands of years here because of the control, but eventually that they will release information and allow certain species, like some of the Greys and some of the Tall Whites and some of the Anunnaki and the Palladians and the Nordics and the Mantoids and maybe even some of the Lyrian species, the bipedal ones, into existence and cooperative amongst mankind. But until then, they have, obviously, they're only unfolding certain much to the public. And NASA is not even holding full information about Atlas as it is. They withhold certain information for a reason, just like all these other celestial bodies that come in and out of here.
Yep, we have a couple of people who said that NASA is purposely withholding. They have evidence that the one guy, I can't think of his name, from Harvard, he was saying they have evidence. Okay, they don't have to share it with the public, but they could at least share it with the other scientists, so the other scientists can evaluate it and take a look at it and see what they can come up with. But they're not even doing that. They're holding back on it for whatever reason.
They're not permitted to know about what's going on just yet because of the equivalent terms of the communication lines between other terrestrials and potentially certain celestial movement streams. And that's all I got for the night, though, my friend.
I am ever so grateful that you take the time to spend with us and educate us and let us know what's going on. I don't think I could get that information from anybody. I'm just, not to boost your parade, but just to be honest with you, I don't think that information is available from anybody else. I think you're probably the only one that could come forth and share what you shared tonight. So I greatly appreciate that, my friend.
I appreciate helping humankind out as much as I potentially can. Just remember that even as humans and other species are here, just you all have capabilities to doing what's right. Just do it. You have a motivation for it, and you're given the techniques to draw it out. And even if some of you don't know how to, you can find an easy way. You all were given some type of gift from the higher sources. You just got to utilize that gift.
I agree.
Get a proper motive for it. It's not going to always be a negative factor upon this realm. There indeed will become a golden age, but it's slowly unfolding. The only way it will upturn is if certain things allow it to be. And if just one is, if everyone as a whole could put themselves together and make this a reality, then all the things, including the extraterrestrial technologies, the laws, Tartaria, the HoloLands, all the information, not all of it, but a lot of information will be allowed for mankind.
Amen.
Be opened up to the public. Maybe humans will not ever allow most of them in certain areas in the Hollow Lands, and they won't. But they would be potentially allowed some information from other parts. And there could be an encrypted virtual reality bank that could sequence them to sit into some type of seat innovator and move them from one baseline to the other to be able to get information. They're like, they would accelerate from one spot to the other, if you will. Would it be like a more of a subtunnel, and would be able to go through that time some tunnel or dimensional tunnel and see some of the techniques and knowledge and fundamental information from these other civilizations and species of the hollow worlds.
Wow.
There, yeah, potentially could be an access for that. It's not a full and physical layer, but at least give them a partial layer to seeing what's going on.
That's a mouthful. That's a lot of information, I'll tell you. Wow. Well, again, I appreciate it. My thanks to you. And any final words before we sign off?
Never give up. Keep aiming forward. Humankind has a right to be a better species. So remember that in order for yourselves to move in and out of the subsystems, and you got to maintain your own code of ethics here. Don't give up. A lot of things are bad here on this planet. Doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. Especially with the lives in general of each other and the families and this and that. There is good. You gotta go in between the lines and find a way to restabilize it. Just find hope. Find hope within yourselves and find hope within the masses in the world and create a better place.
Amen. I go for that. I like it when everybody wins. I don't like the way things are currently, where we only have a few people winning while everybody suffers. So, my friend, thank you so much. I wish you an awesome evening. And I'll put archives will be up. I think archives on Facebook will be up for 30 days. Archives will be on Rumble, and I'm not sure, maybe YouTube. Where are we on? We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on the website. It looks like Rumble. So there'll be archives set up. All you have to do is look up either Trim Radio on YouTube. I think we're on YouTube as Trim Radio, or on Rumble, we're on Trim Creators, I think, on Rumble. Facebook is Red Pill Reality Show. And then, of course, our website, which is www.trimradio.com. And it would be greatly appreciated if you would subscribe. And if you are in need of anything, you can always go to one of our shops and take a look around. That kind of helps us continue doing what we're doing. We don't do it for the money. I mean, I've said this many times. I don't get paid to do what I do. I don't ask people for money because to me, it's not about money. It's about trying to make the world a better place, and however small amount that I can put into that, whatever that is whatever it is. But if everybody was to try to make the world a better place, we would definitely be in a lot better place than we are today. We have people who are arguing with right and left about silly things that we shouldn't even be discussing, but nevertheless, we are falling for the divide and conquer analogy, and then with people like Blue coming along, that disrupts all of that and reminds people of the power that we've been given and the authority that we have. They don't like that. they want little workers. They don't want people who could say, wait a minute, why do I have to do that? So anyway, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. I wish you an awesome weekend. And I'm looking forward to having you back on, maybe in a couple of months or so.
Okay.
Maybe sooner than that. Maybe in a couple of weeks if you're right. But looking forward to having you back on. And thanks again, my dear. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Night. All right, that is Blue Crystalline Phoenix, and you can find her on Facebook under that name, Blue Crystalline Phoenix. Definitely an individual with information unlike anybody else I've ever known in my life. And she has to be an alien. She says she is, but I tell you, she has to be an alien. With the stuff that she comes up with, oh my goodness. There are, like I said, I've never met anybody with the ability to bring forward information in the manner that she does. So definitely one of a kind. You can find her, look her up on Facebook, subscribe to her, or follow her, I guess, on Facebook is what you do, is follow her on Facebook, and you'll have access to someone unlike, I promise you, unlike anybody else you'll ever meet. Anyway, I'm going to cut it a little short tonight, a couple of minutes short. My dog is over here bugging me. He's been bugging me for a while. I'm surprised he's not yelling at me. He likes to scream at me when I don't let him out when he wants to go out. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys for allowing us to share with you tonight. And please remember to subscribe. That helps us build a channel. And we'll see, if God willing and the creek don't rise, we'll see you in about a week. All right, here we go.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, 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 take the red. You stay in Wonderland. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.